Hail adventurers, my name is Defi and welcome to episode 2 of my solo D&D series titled The Fates Reroll. Last episode, we met our two heroes, Gan the Thief and Halana. We learnt that they are wanted criminals on the run from their home region of Antarica. They boarded a vessel southbound to the southern Hexstar Isles and landed on the northwest island region of Phaetria. Once arrived and semi-rested, they were greeted by a black raven carrying a letter. This was from a group called the Sapphire Hands, who wanted to trade help for their services. With little to no choice, they followed the raven to a quiet part of town to meet with the group's representative, and it's here we continue. Twilight turns to night as the sun says its daily farewell. The winds blow an eerie chorus through the hollow buildings, which amplify and brings the absence of the scene to a fantasy-shattering realization. Gan and Halana clock eyes with the tiefling, a creature with a smile so sweet it's sickening. Black Raven lands on the tiefling's arm with grace and majesty, looking at its master with an expecting glance for reward. The tiefling brings out a crumbling cracker and feeds the raven before stroking its head with care and comfort.
Ah, Mani, a job well done, my friend. Thank you for your work. You may rest.
As the tiefling snaps his fingers, the raven disappears in a puff of black smoke.
You know, Mani is an old mythological name for the moon. Quite fitting we meet under such a bright light, eh, my friends? Master Gan, it's Halana. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Zarius Alemon of the Sapphire Hands. Now, I assume you have many questions. How do we know you? How do we know the plight you're in?
Aye, all the questions. I mean, we came here to eliminate potential threats. Forgive our caution, but me and Halana have had the dog snipping at our heels these past 4 months.
So far, Gan and Halana only sees Sarius. So we ask the question, is Sarius on his own? No, he is not alone. As Sarius and Gan exchange pleasantries about how the journey was and the life at the port, the runes on Halana's sword Blackfire starts to glow, and she hears a voice inside her head.
Halana, we are not alone. I sense life force beyond the radius that includes us. Be on your guard.
Halana shows no response with this newly acquired information. She carefully and slowly examines every detail, shadow, and image on the buildings and the alleyways. She rolls perception. She rolls a 20. Being brought up in the Underdark has trained her eyes, and she has the vision to rival birds of prey. Like a hawk, she zooms in and spots 3 men in black leathers, one on the rooftop to the party's southwest, hiding behind a wall, and 2 on the ground. One to the east, hiding in a shadowed corner in an empty storehouse, and 1 to the northwest west, hiding behind some barrels. We ask another question, are they hostile? "11" gives us maybe, so we ask, are they working with Sarius? "7" maybe. Maybe not. As she grips the hilt of her sword, Halana leans into Gan and whispers, "We're not alone. 1 on top behind us, and 2 to each side.
I thought something smelled fishy. And no, I knew it wasn't the sea.
Darius looks at him intriguingly, like a scientist observing his specimen, all whilst wearing his smile like something of a badge of honor.
My friends, I am very interested. How did you manage to stare an entire empire's ire against you and your guild? I only heard snippets from my master and my comrades, but...
As Serious carves his dialogue with mystique and with danceful tones, it was when a twang was heard from the rear of Halana. It was all in a second when a crossbow bolt zephyrs past Halana, cutting a locket of her crimson-coloured hair and lands right in the middle of Sirius's forehead, a bullseye if a person ever saw it. Halana readies their blade and bow, ready to repel the attackers. It's until they notice Sirius. His body starts to warp and distort until it disappeared, and the bolt was lodged deep into the stone wall behind him. Out from the side of the warehouse was clapping and intoxicating laughter. Sirius made his way into the glittering moonlight with a grin that would put hyenas to shame.
I know the wolves were out tonight, but I didn't think they would take the bait this well. My friends, let us enjoy this little dance macabre and put these dogs down.
As the battle starts, we roll initiative. The turn order looks like this. I would now explain how I intend to run combat in this series. On page 112 on the Solo Adventurers Toolbox Part 1, there is a monster reaction table, which you can use to make the fight more natural and freeform. I will be using this for every participating person in this fight and beyond. I will put what they are doing with a dice roll result next to it. Sirius takes the first action and moving 20 feet to the front of the warehouse. He prepares the spell by chanting words and alternating hand movements, but he does not cast it, not yet. He is waiting for the perfect opportunity. Next is one of the shadowy assailants, but first we ask the question, who is their main target? Is it Sirius? "19. Yes, he is the main target." The assassin, clocking onto Sirius's true form, starts to unsheath a scimitar whose blade glints in the moonlight and starts to charge towards his target. As the assassin starts to run forward at a brisk pace, Sirius sees his opportunity. He reaction casts his prepared spell, Grease. As he extends his staff forward, a red magic glyph appears and covers the floor in a slippery black ooze. The assassin makes a dexterity saving throw to keep him on his feet. A roll of 7 fails as the assassin loses all traction under his feet and he slips and falls prone. Halana assesses the situation. She's more of a think before you strike type of person. She does a perception check to the assassin in the top left to assess their combat ability. With a roll of 11, she can't make out how well trained they are, but quickly finds out from the assassination attempt that Sirius is the main target. In her haste, she forgoes her current well-being and rushes to Sirius' side to be some kind of shield for him. The bandit in the left-hand corner, who was hiding behind some barrels, springs to action, knocking over the empty wooden vessels with little to no effort. Knowing that the game is up, she reaches for a wooden horn. Then, within seconds, unleashing a tone so deep and loud. Either she is sending a signal that the jig is up, or... Gan seeing things happen all around him, he reacts. He sees Halana going off to defend Sirius, and he decides to go on the offensive. He notices the bandit in the top left trying to signal something, so he takes a snapshot with his short bow. The arrow flies straight and true as it hits its mark, straight into the right torso, stopping the horn mid-blow. It rolls for 14, beating the AC of 12, and deals 6 points of piercing damage. The assassin on the roof, who previously took the shot at Sirius, reloads her crossbow. She then stands at the edge of the roof and sets up a sniper's nest. Spotting Gan firing on her comrade, she counterfires. She just connects as the bolt snipes Gan's bow hand. However, it just grazes enough to cause a sliver of damage. A grunt can be heard from Gan, but he presses on. The attack roll rolls for 15, which just barely beats Gan's AC of 15 and causes 2 points of piercing damage. Out of the shadows on the bottom right roof, a shot is heard and seen. A fourth assassin was hiding. Halana's initial scan did not see her, and now she attacks Halana. Because this assassin was hidden, the attack is made with advantage. She hits. The arrow lands square into Halana's lower stomach as she recoils with pain. The bolt was so quick she could not react, and even her eldritch powers would not have been enough to repel it. It pierces her scale mail, and at least half the bolt is stuck inside her. The two rolls were a 22 and a 9. 22 beats Halana's AC of 16 and deals 8 points of piercing damage. At the top of the round, Sirius grins and smiles at the conflict unfolding before him. Screams delight in his ears as he plays under the stars. He takes a step to the side and points his staff at the wounded assassin. A cold blue ray fires from his staff, leaving behind a trail of ice and snow. He uses Ray of Frost. He hits with a 22, which beats the assassin's AC of 12 and deals 5 points of cold damage. The assassin is barely hanging on. The assassin struggles to get back on his feet, slipping and sliding with the liquid beneath him. He struggles to move to his target, so he goes to the nearest person, Halana, as she is heavily injured. He swings with his scimitar. However, because of the unstable footing, he overswings and misses Halana by a mile. Because of the overswing, he slips and slides away from her, exposing his back. Halana takes a swing with her sword Blackfire as she sees an opportunity of attack and connects. However, because of the injury, she can only manage to get a quick swipe with the tip of her sword, but it's enough to cut into the back of the enemy. She rolls a 16 for her attack, which beats the AC of 12 and deals 5 points of slashing damage. With the momentum of the missed sword swing and the attack on his back, he fails his dexterity saving throw and lands back on the floor. Halana, recognizing the damage Gan and Sirius have done to the assassin to the left, decides to deal the killing blow herself. She rolls a massive 25, which greatly beats the AC of 12 and deals 9 points of slashing damage, which kills the wounded assassin. She gathers what strength she has and with her 2 hands drives her sword straight down. The chest opens and sprays what life was left in the body. A soul was ripped out and was absorbed by Blackfire, which glows a satisfying magma red. Seeing the front line being dealt with, Halana turns her attention to the 2 snipers on the rooftops. In order to close the distance, she uses one of her inherent traits from being a Shadakai. she uses Blessing of the Raven Queen. She teleports from one space to another, leaving behind and reappearing in a bundle of black raven feathers. She holds her wound the best she can, but she still fights on. Garn looks at the situation. One destroyed body, one flat on his back, and two fresh in front of him. He looks back at Serious as he nods, wearing his grin like always. Garn steps forward in order to pressure the sniper on the right hand side, but is unsure of what his next move will be. He readies a short bow attack at the first person who acts. The bandit on the left roof sees Halana on the edge and reloads her crossbow to finish her off. Seeing this, Garn fires a shot towards the sniper. However, we ask the question, is this an attack to save Halana's life? No. He fires the arrow towards his target's center mass. He rolls a 15, beating the AC of 12, and deals 7 points of piercing damage as the arrow sticks into the right shoulder of the assassin. However, the shot came too late, and the assassin already has fired her shot. But before she did, she caught movement in the corner of her eye, causing her to jerk before firing, as a roll of 10 misses. The assassin on the right roof feels pressured by Garn's presence, but seeing how he was quick on the trigger gave her some time needed to reload. However, she decides to slow herself down and assess the battlefield. She readies a crossbow attack, but who's the target? Back to the top. Serious notice the slowdown in terms of aggression, and people are starting to be more tactical. He still keeps his grin and plays along. He stays in spot, but prepares a spell nonetheless. The assassin on the floor starts to get up. Noticing the movement from his left, Zarius comes to a realization that the man will be coming for him. So he reaction casts Silent Image, a big area of effect illusion spell, and places it around him. He portrays a stone wall trying to conceal himself. After standing up, he only sees Garn and Halana and heads for Garn being the closest. Whilst moving, the assassin on the right roof sees the illusion being cast and tries to intercept, but the illusion is complete by the time she raises her sights, so she rolls with disadvantage as she takes a pot shot. She rolls a 15 and a 5. A roll of 5 fails as the bolt shoots right through the illusion and lands far to the side of Serious, failing to hit just like a comrade before. Serious starts to clap and laugh hysterically. Halana moves closer to Garn to support him as he is surrounded on two fronts. Just like the others, she is hesitant in this dangerous game of chess. She prepares a spell and waits for an opening. Garn looks up at the sniper before him. The sniper is fuming red with having missing a shot on Serious and with him mocking her. He tries something. He yells to her.
Seems like you're missing today. Maybe you'll leave the marksmanship to us professionals. Or maybe you want to get your tail down here and do this old school.
We roll intimidation to the sniper's wisdom roll. Garn's roll is a 13 and the sniper beats it with a 17. The sniper looks at Garn and laughs knowingly that she has the advantageous position before casually flipping the bird. The sniper on the left is determined to finish off Halana. She knows that both her and herself are on their last legs. She reloads her crossbow and fires another shot, but before she does, Halana is ready for it and reacts. She reaction casts her signature move, Eldritch Blast. As she runs her hand down Blackfire, it starts to glow a nocturne black. She lifts the sword and slashes down as a black and red Eldritch Wave heads straight for the sniper. wave crashes forward with great momentum as it passes the bolt, which has been released at the same time. The bolt disappears in the blackness, and with a roll of 21, hits the sniper dead center, dealing 8 points of force damage as the body burns and turns to ash. The assassin on the right rooftop sees the fiery explosion. The spell was so destructive it causes a shockwave to head towards her. She makes a dexterity saving throw in order to keep her footing and not allowing herself to fall into the lion's den below. She rolls a nat 20 and the backdraft rips through her body, taking her breath away, but manages to grip onto the roof and brace herself enough not to move. Zeria's smile starts to dampen a little, knowing that the entertainment is about to reach its final curtain soon, so he wants to join in the action as much as possible. He moves off to the left and casts Ray of Frost as a trail of Arctic blue head towards the person closest to him. However, he loses accuracy in his haste as he rolls a 10, instead firing the ray up into the sky like a falling star. Halana starts to gain momentum after dealing with one of the snipers. Her pain starts to worsen as the bolt head jerks around from the inside. Time was of the essence, but the more pain she's in, the stronger she becomes. She covers her hand in her blood and runs it down the side of the blade as it turns blood red. She casts Wrathful Smite and moves to the assassin on the floor and swings Blackfire towards him. Halana rolls a natural 20, dealing a critical hit as she slices the assassin in half from the top down. The swing from the bloodthirsty blade causes the body to explode as blood lands on Halana. The roll was a natural 20, which beats the AC of 12 regardless, and with the double damage of the critical hit and the extra damage from Wrathful Smite does a whopping 32 points of combined slashing and psychic damage. She stands as blood drips from her, before leaning back and locking eyes with the assassin on the roof, and wears the most bloodthirsty smile, which even makes Serious drops a sweat. Gan, hearing the massive attack behind him, turns round to see what caused the massive sound. As he does, chunks of the assassin's body flies towards him. Before they hit him, he does a dexterity saving throw. He rolls a 15, which is just enough as the two bloody arms starts flying towards him. He ducks at the nick of time.
Bloody hell! When I usually say give a bloody hand, Halana, I didn't mean literally.
The final assassin is all alone. Seeing her comrades die gives her a sense of desperation and fear. She needs to get this job done, will or nil. She abandons her crossbow and heads straight into the melee. She climbs down from the roof and grips onto the edge with her hands before dropping down 5 feet. Then drawing her scimitar, she heads straight for Gan while his back is turned. However, with the fear and adrenaline pumping through her body, she swings with no conviction and misses Gan. She rolls a 9, which does not beat Gan's AC of 15. Serious, believing the battle is almost over, decides to extend his fun time a little more. Instead of dealing direct damage, he decides to play passively and deluges himself in his trickery. He casts Minor Illusion, making an illusionary copy of himself and places it behind the assassin in order to torment the poor lass even further. Halana starts to wobble and shake as the loss of blood is starting to affect her. She knows she has to end this battle now. She puts the last of her will into one last gamble, a hit and run attack. She uses her last spell slot and casts Wrathful Smite, doing the same procedure as before. She runs towards the last assassin, barely keeping herself straight
as she closes in and runs her blade down the sniper. She hits a 25 as she swings the blade up and does an uppercut slice, cleaving the sniper's torso wide open as the body hits the floor with a deafening thud. She rolls a 25, which beats the assassin's AC of 12 and deals 16 points of combined slashing and psychic damage, a one-hit kill.
After the fight, the 3 surviving members stand their ground and wait. Seconds turns into minutes, which feels like an eternity, standing vigilant in case of a second wave. The only sound they hear is the slight howl of the wind. Halana collapses to one knee, catching her breath, and caresses her wound. Gan rushes to her side to support and provide basic first aid in order to stop the bleeding. Zarius looks at the bodies and then to Gan and Halana.
Well, this was fun. I've not had this kind of entertainment in many moons. I thank you, friends.
Zarius starts to whistle as masked men come out the shadows and starts to round up the bodies and places them in the center of the arena. Who were these people? Why was Zarius a target? And is Gan and Halana in deeper water? All this will be revealed next time.